Okay.
Hello, good morning. Today from sunny London.
Okay, so
we are in the company of Kanu wines from Stellenbosch in South Africa. And with us are Johan Grimbeek, who is the winemaker, and Jason Chen, who is the general manager of Kanu in South Africa. We have about 35-40 minutes. So without further ado, I will hand it over to Jason to speak a little bit about the very special vineyard that we are looking at today. And then Johan will talk to us about some of the wines. Over to you, Jason. Thank you very much for coming with us today.
Hi, Marco. Thank you very much for the invite. Please allow me to just do a brief introduction of the farm. We, as Kanu Wines, we are based in South Africa, Cape Town, in the Stellenbosch area. We are a family-orientated farm, wine farm. As we took over the farm in 2018. Then we started renovations. Like I said, our target to be more family-orientated. After we renovated, then sadly COVID hit us. So I would say, as we speak, we have a restaurant, which is Asian fusion restaurant. We have putt area, we have fishing area, we have tasting room upstairs and cellar tasting rooms. So we have a lot of variety of our wines, starting from the most famous Chenin Blanc, and then going more into the red side, and which we did accomplish a lot of different awards internationally. And from the farm's perspective, we are trying to welcome everyone that is around the globe, also locally as well. We also trying to do accommodations at the moment. As we all know, this glamping thing are very famous worldwide, internationally. So we are busy with that. We have hiking trails. We have a 50-hectare farm that we manufacture most of our wines in-house, grapes as well. So, with all these hiking trails that we are trying to achieve, to when people come here, they have a very good experience with just the food, the wines, and also the spectacular views.
Sounds exciting. Look forward to coming to visit you sometime soon.
You're more than welcome. So yes, so basically this is an overall of what's happening with Kanu. Like I said, we are more on the wine side. That's Johan will introduce. So yes, I think Johan, the wine side, I think, yeah.
Right, Marco, I'll just fall in straight and start it. You interrupt and say how are we going to do the tasting, if you're going to do the tasting, but otherwise I'll just give a brief background on our wines, okay, and then we take it on your cue. So I've been with Kanu now, this is my 22nd year that I've been with the brand, and it has been a roller coaster ride, to say the least. But yes, we've got from 2018, as Jason said, we've got a lot of stability in terms of our production. Our whole wine offering has increased significantly, and it has allowed me to do a few very nice projects. We were passionate, and we still are, about Chenin Blanc. So Chenin Blanc features highly on our wine list, from old vine, which is a fascinating topic in itself, from the old vine that Marco is holding up now, the 2019 Vineyard vintage. It's from our neighboring farm, and with Chenin, I mean, everyone knows that's in the wine industry or knows about wine, knows the story about South Africa and its journey with Chenin Blanc. rightfully outside of the Loire Valley. Chenin Blanc is probably the home in South Africa. It makes up just under a fifth of plantings in South Africa, so it predominantly features in all wine cellars in different
Hello. Lost it. Hello.
Right. So South Africa and Chenin Blanc has such an intertwined story. And anyone that's in the wine industry or who has a love of wine knows about the fantastic wines produced from Chenin Blanc in South Africa. We've got a lot of old wine vineyards. Marco showed the bottle that is vineyards older than 35 years old, predominantly bush vine. And wines from those vineyards are made with minimal intervention. The whole aim of the Old Vine project is to show the heritage of the grape and not to disguise it with any wood flavors. So basically, it's either fermented in stainless steel, in amphoras, concrete tanks, or in very older wood, which has a minimum of wood influence on the wine.
Okay.
Yes, but go ahead, Marco.
Why do you think Chenin Blanc, particularly of all the grapes that came from Europe to South Africa, was so successful, is so successful?
I think our climate, and we've got such a diverse climate in the Western Cape, from basically very dryland vineyards up the west coast into Malmesbury in the Swartland, to Stellenbosch, where some of it is dryland vineyards, and some of them irrigated. But I think Chenin Blanc, the fact that it's so versatile in what can be done without it, and the top brandies in the world comes predominantly from South Africa, and 99% they are made from Chenin Blanc grapes. We have still wines, we have dessert wines, we have Cap Classiques in the Method Champenois style. So although Chenin was abused for such a long time, it's easy to be overcropped. But since the focus was on making quality wines from Chenin, I think the whole viticulture has changed, and our whole understanding and thinking about the variety has changed. Now we don't go for volumes, although there is cellars, but that is the game that they play. But for quality Chenin Blanc, we want lower yields, and some of the old bush vine vineyards produce very, very low yields. 1-2 tons a hectare, which is really nothing. But the clarity and the quality of wine that's made from those grapes is astounding.
So I've seen on your bottle, and we'll taste it in a second, that you say this is a certified heritage wine. Maybe you can tell us what that means.
So the Old Vine project was initiated by probably one of our foremost winemakers, Ibn Sadi, and he had a viticulturist, which at that time worked for the Rupert family, and Reza Kruger, And basically, she traveled the globe in search of old vines and to understand the old vines, whatever the variety, and drink those wines and see what the amazing qualities came from that. So in a short summing up is that basically they established the Old Vine Project, where she went out and identified all the vineyards throughout the Western Cape, which was, whether it's Chenin Blanc, and the predominant variety in the Old Vine Project is Chenin Blanc, but to identify those vineyards, because a lot of times it's a farmer that does multi-purpose farming. He has sheep, wheat, and maybe an odd half a hectare of 80-year-old, let's stick with the Chenin theme, of Chenin Blanc vineyards, but no one knows about that. And the aim of the Old Vine Project was to actually bring those old vineyards into the spotlight, so that winemakers in all the cellars that are interested in that can actually go out and buy those grapes and make the fantastic wines that they do. And obviously that brought a lot of focus on those old vineyards, and farmers could now start asking better prices for their grapes to be able to sell that and to keep those vines in the soil.
Okay, thank you very much. So I've been tasting this Chenin Blanc 2019 old vines, which were planted in 1980, as you specify on the label. I like your labels because you have a lot of information on them. Like not many people would write the age of the vines on a label, but that's good. It's good to know. And we have, yeah.
Sorry, Marco, sorry. So that was just to finish off on the Old Vine Project. So that was when I designed that. So that seal tells the consumer exactly when the vineyard was planted, and the age of the vineyard, or the year that the vineyard was planted, is on the seals. And like you rightly said, 1980 was this specific vineyard planted. And that's an authentication of what's stated, and it is in the bottle. Okay.
And this is an excellent Chenin Blanc. It's very plump, I would say. It's got a lot of body. It's very smooth and velvety. There is obviously acidity in the glass still that will make for quite a balanced wine, actually. You can have some nuances of papaya, almonds, pineapple, perhaps. And in the description, you mentioned that it's a late harvested, obviously not too late harvested. I mean, it's still a dry wine, but what do you mean by late harvesting for this wine?
So, Marco, it differs from winemaker to winemaker. So, because Chenin Blanc, and these are bush vine vineyards, because Chenin Blanc is such a tight, the grapes are such a tight bunch, it is easily susceptible to rot. The negative one, sour rot, and obviously the positive one that we know about, noble rot or Botrytis cinerea. Mm-hmm. So I try to pick it a bit later, and obviously if there's any moisture, rain, whatever, and there's not a lot of wind to dry up that moisture on the vineyards, rot can happen. And a lot of times it is noble rot, and you'll have a bit of botrytis infection in the grapes. So for me, that's not a problem, and I think that adds to the complexity and the spiel of the wine overall.
Yeah.
Just in terms of winemaking, and I mentioned that that is minimalist winemaking. So all the work is done in the vineyard. Really, we in the cellar basically just handle the grapes through its different stages. There's no additions of any kind. Nothing is allowed to be added to the wine. Like I said, if it's in barrel, it should be older barrel with a minimal wood influence. And the wine is unfiltered, unfined, and prior to bottling, we only add a bit of sulfur just to protect the wine. But that is basically it. It's to show the true essence of the varietal.
Okay, thank you very much. So Does that mean you are organic certified, or even if, you know, like many are not certified, but that's basically what you are? Is
No, we definitely not organically certified, Marco, but obviously there is herbicides and pesticides sprayed. That is part of the farm that we buy the grapes from, our neighbors. But obviously you want to tread carefully. If you only spray when you need to spray, and you spray the minimum of it. The days of heavy-handed pesticides and insecticides being sprayed, that is long gone over.
Yeah, I think that's the wise approach. I personally, I'm in favor of this. Well, in French they call it la lutte raisonnée, a reasonable fight. You know, you don't. I think there is a bit of a tendency in Europe to go after labels, you know, organic, biodynamic, and so on, which don't necessarily mean that this is a better way of handling a particular vineyard situation. So, okay, thank you for that. So that's about Chenin Blanc. Maybe something about Pinotage, we can say. It's another grape that is typical of South Africa. I mean, when you think of South Africa, you think of Chenin Blanc, but you also think of Pinotage, which is this bottle here. Oh, sorry, that's the Chenin Blanc, this bottle here. Yeah. And you make rosé Pinotage. Can you tell us something about this wine?
Okay, Marcus, just so Pinotage is unique South African. It was a crossover. It was a cross between Cinsault or Hermitage and Pinot Noir. And it was done by Professor Abram Perold. And so Pinotage is unique South African. And again, through work of well-known Pinotage producers, Beyers Streeter, from Beyers Kloof and Kanonkop, Aubrey Beeslaar, and the likes. Pinotage was harnessed, and obviously that knowledge was passed along to other winemakers. So we understand Pinotage far better now, how to handle it, how to ferment it, that kind of thing. So, and Pinotage as a varietal, and the modern Pinotages on a world stage can stand proud amongst all the other wines. There's fantastic Pinotages. So I make a Pinotage, a red wine from that, but obviously with our new owners, when they took over, they wanted products that were unique South African. So, and we've always had a strong focus on Chenin Blanc, and Chenin Blanc is practically South African. And now the other one is Pinotage. So we do a red wine in barrel, and obviously Pinotage as a rosé, and we all know what the rosé is a category, how that is, how popular it is. So yes, it's an interesting wine. It's and we've learned to handle those grapes that we make rosé from. It's not just an afterthought that you specifically harvest grapes and make the wine accordingly to end up putting a proper product on the table. So the Pinotage Rosé, it's basically it's left on the skins for 4 hours. I just extract some color out of it. Gentle pressing, goes into stainless steel tank, and it's inoculated with specific yeast to make Pinotage. So I think the product is it's fresh, it's vibrant.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, it's
like I said, it's a summer wine, and with rosé as a category getting international acceptance, I think it's a nice wine to drink.
Yeah, it's some good, very good balance of the freshness, but also it's quite smooth in the end, and it's I'm drinking it chilled, perhaps obviously, but anyway, I'm drinking it chilled, and some strawberries are in there which come out, and the color is quite is quite interesting. It's between sort of almost orange. So that's
So,
quite
yeah, and
interesting.
as you and your viewers know, I mean, there's such the different hues on pink or on rosés is so diverse. It differs from varietal to varietal. That Pinotage is, yeah, it's slightly darker, but there's ways that you can adjust the color. But for me, I don't want to tinker when it's. I'd rather that is the expression from that particular vineyard. So I don't want to tinker with color adjustments.
Okay, and then there is another wine that I would like to introduce to our viewers, which is the Angelina. The Angelina, which I was lucky to taste at the London Wine Fair, thanks to your colleague Jade McDonald, who was there. And you can tell us something about you mentioned earlier about sparkling wines, actually. Maybe you can say something about Angelina Rosé, and especially about the very unique gold edition that you produce.
Okay, so obviously, yeah, Marco, you saw it and you tasted it. So that was like I said at the start, when our new owners took over, there was basically 3 major projects that we did. The one was the old vine that we talked about. The second one, which there's a red one, but we'll talk about that a bit later. And the second one is Cap Classique. And Cap Classique, previously it was called Method Cap Classique, but we sort of dropped the method now. Cap Classique has been in South Africa. We're celebrating. Last year we celebrated 50 years of Cap Classique making in South Africa. So the thought was just to drop the method and from now on just to name it Cap Classique. It's made in the method Champenois, second fermentation in the bottle. It has to be on lease for a minimum of 12 months to be called a Cap Classique. And obviously it depends on the style that you make. Less time on the lease for more freshness, more time for complexity. So I make a white Cap Classique as well, called Giselle. That was part of the farm for previous to the owners taking over, and then they wanted a second one, which is the Angelina. It's 100% Pinot Noir, and Cap Classique as a variety or as a style of winemaking, and it's by no means our main line, but it's a fascinating product to make. There's a lot of work involved. So yes, our production has increased significantly, and we ended up with Angelina. So the Angelina is 100% Pinot Noir. Get that nice, and it's 12-14 months on the lease, so you get that nice fresh red fruit. And then they wanted Angelina with a twist. So the brief was to have 24 karat edible gold or food grade gold inserted into the bottle as for a specific market. Now, if you're going to do your research, there's a couple of wineries throughout the world that does gold into their edible gold into their sparkling wine. There's one in Germany, there's one in the States, and in Australia there's a winery that makes a Chenin Blanc method Champenois with gold, and which is good. But coming back to the Angelina, it was a long project for the simple fact of getting the gold flakes into the wine. There's some spirits, vodka, and I think there's a gin available, which has gold flakes in it, and that's the easiest part to do because you can add it before you fill up the bottle. when you do a sparkling wine, which has lees in the bottle that has to be degorged, you can only add the gold after degorging. So it was a lot of trial and error, and I think we're 90% there in getting the flakes in. But it's not to everyone's taste. But like I said, for those, we made it for a specific market.
What's the specific market?
It's not a well factored. Sorry, Marco.
Yeah, what is the specific market that you're talking about? Is it like a specific country or a specific, I don't know.
No, I think originally it started for the Asian market, for the female market in Asia, and I think once we get rid of COVID, in that'll still be a target market.
Okay.
But then obviously you have again, if you're gonna look at or traditionalists may look at it and see it's a sort of a bastardization of the wine or the product, but that's not what it's meant to be. It's a quality wine. The normal Angelina and the Angelina Gold is exactly the same in terms of this. It's 100% Pinot Noir. It's made exactly the same. The gold is just added at the end. So you've got a market, and I think in South Africa the market is we've got a black upper class that we call them the black diamonds in South Africa, and obviously it is there. It's if you look at social media, what they do, how they dress, it's there to be seen, and that is a product that's specifically marketed for that.
I found it quite a good product, very well balanced with freshness but still very smooth, and the minerality is there, which from Pinot Noir is quite expected, and very complex. A lot of different aromas and fragrances came to the nose and to the mouth. So I found it very, very a big surprise, and the gold flakes can add a touch of maybe eccentricity, attract attention. But besides that, it's definitely a first-class traditional method wine. So maybe we have another 6 minutes or so. We can talk a little bit about your red. I tried the New Era 2017, which I found, to be honest, very amazing. I was quite stunned by this wine. I've drank a lot of South African wines, but this was very, very good. Very intense, complex, a lot of fruit, very plump and elegant wine with tertiary flavors as well. Medium structure that I think would go with a lot of different kinds of food. We're always trying to pay attention to pairing, because that's when you drink your wine most of the time is with some kind of food or other. So maybe I give over to you to tell us a bit about your reds. I haven't tried the Keystone yet, but I'm going to. But tell us about your reds.
Thanks, yeah. I'll start with the New Era. So the New Era is a Shiraz Mourvedre blend. It's soft, it's accessible. It's by no means a simple wine. There's complexity, and you've alluded to that fact on your brief tasting notes of that, Marco. So yes, it's a nice, like I said, it's smooth, velvety tannins, drinking well now, and will still hopefully continue to do so for the next couple of years. The Keystone is our Bordeaux blend. I think we still call it wrongly Bordeaux blend in South Africa. It's a Cabernet-based blend. Although it's the same varieties that we use in Bordeaux, we very far from Bordeaux. But Keystone is a Cabernet-based blend. All 5 varietals. It's led by, like I said, Cab, and that will change. That changes every year, depending. The wines are matured separately in barrel, and when I make up the blend, obviously that the quality and whatever percentages of a variety goes in there will play a role. But for the the 2018 Keystone, all 5 varietals. We've got a straight Shiraz. Shiraz does amazingly in South Africa. It can tolerate a lot of heat, but also cool climate. Shiraz, different flavor profile. But so Shiraz plays a huge part, I think, in every cellar in the Western Cape. Merlot. The Merlot is a 100% straight varietal. It's made a bit differently, more fruit forward in style. It's got some oak in there, blend of American and French oak, and that's made and matured in tank with staves added to it. So it's a more fruit-driven wine than your more complex red wines that'll come out of barrel. And then the Pinotage. Prior to our new owners taking over, I've never made a Pinotage. It was never part of our lineup. The grapes come from the same property next to us as the old vine Chenin Blanc comes from. They supply a lot of big name sellers, Kanu, Kloof, Simonsig from their Pinotage blocks. Amazing wine. Very proud of it. It is, I think it's a bit more feminine in style than, it's not muscular, for me, it's more leaning towards the Pinot Noir character of the cross. And then lastly, and I don't know if you've tasted it when we had it at London Wine Fair, an ultra premium blend, Sapphire. That is the third of my projects that I undertook. It's a blend of 8 cultivars, 3 main cultivars, Cab, Sangiovese, and Petit Syrah or Durif. Amazing wine. It's
I don't think we had that at the London Wine Fair, but I'll have to go back to my notes and look. There's so many wines in 3 days.
yeah, no, that's true. That's true.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. This was most interesting. Maybe we can say we have a couple of minutes. If just a couple of words about your Noble Rot wine. You mentioned something at the beginning of the talk, but maybe you want to say a bit about your South African Sauterne, so to say.
That's yeah. I've been privileged to taste 1 or 2 Sauterne vintages. But again, and that's the last chapter of our Chenin Blanc influence. So the Chenin Blanc, its name is Kia Ora, is made 100% from Chenin Blanc, and I've alluded to it earlier that because Chenin is so tightly packed, the bunches, it's very easy for rot to settle on the bunches. And what you hope for is noble rot or Botrytis cinerea. So again, that we had noble rot. Your grapes are harvested towards early autumn, when it's mistier, the evenings are colder, so you develop, so your noble rot develops. And from there, it's a matter of processing it. It looks like dirty dishwater once it's pressed. But when it comes out of the barrel and into the bottle, it's beautifully golden. It's you get all that spice from the noble rot, and it's a beautiful wine. It's there's definitely a place for it in our lineup.
Thank you very